musician, The COVID Chronicles, episode 1. During this series, I aim to explore what it is to be a music teacher and a musician in a post-lockdown world. So this is being recorded at the start of September 2020, and we're getting ready for a national return of students to schools after them having been away, some of them for many months, 6 months, as the schools went remote in March. Students in Key Stage 3, that's Year 7, 8 and 9, very likely have not been into schools, and certainly not into this school, since March, unless they were part of our special provision for the vulnerable students or the students of key workers. So at many schools, music teaching practical subjects, including dance, drama, art, is not necessarily being allowed, because it's considered too great a risk. However, I'm working in a school that is allowing it, but it's subject to a full-scale risk assessment and comparing that working to the government guidelines, so which is quite a good place to be. So we are aiming to work with our Year 7 and 8 students practically, but these lessons will probably be shorter, because the strategy is that they will be in a base room, in a bubble, so a class is a bubble, that then functions as a year group bubble, and they work and play in a zone around the school. So the school I work in has a big site, so we've got plenty of space, and our field is huge for what is technically in Little London comprehensive. So, as music teachers and teachers of practical subjects, we have to go to the class, where primary school style, where there's children the same. So they have all their lessons in there, so the written subject teachers come to them, they sort of rotate, they work for the day, children stay in that room. But practical subjects, including music, we go, we pick those children up, we move them in a one-way system around the school, so avoiding coming into contact with any other class that might be moving to science or to arts. We bring them in, they must hand sanitise, they must wash their hands. We've got hand sanitising stations in classrooms, we've got portable sinks around the sites, there's plenty of opportunities for them to do that. We supervise them doing that, obviously. They then come into the classroom, they take their seats, we have a seating plan that's clear so we can track and trace if needs be. Then we can do some practical music making. That, I reckon, not tried doing this, but I reckon at the moment, that's about 30 minutes worth, because then the whole process has to happen in reverse. I have to hand sanitise on their way out, having wiped down the instruments, having wiped down the tables and the chairs, anything they've touched essentially, so that could be keyboards, that could be glockenspiels as well. Then we take them back to their base room and the next teacher carries on. After its break, we dismiss them to break and or lunch. So a bit of an operation. As I say, I haven't done it, so I might make another short video to let you know how that goes. And we have our music lesson. So I will be taking you on a guided tour via my phone camera of what a COVID-secure music department could look like. You can see I'm talking to you from behind a screen between myself, the piano and the desk that's immediately in front of me, because there's a layout, even though we're all facing forwards our desks, there isn't anywhere near 2 metres in fact between the first desk and the piano. So I put these 2 screens up, I've got one, I've got another one here, to protect both myself and the children from breathing anything that could be a bit difficult. So that's there, that's hopefully safe. So I'll take you on that tour of the department.
So this is the COVID secure music classroom for practical music. We have obviously the hand sanitizer, you can see above the green dustbin. And we move around, you can see that the computers and keyboards don't have headphones all the way across. And then the glockenspiels are out on tables, as are some keyboards. So moving around, you can see again all the computer stations, no headphones. You can see that the desks are in rows, 1950s style, all facing forwards. You can see that in front of the electric piano is my COVID screens, basic plastic notice screens that don't have any notices on them, because the desk right in front of the piano is less than 2 metres, probably just about 1 metre at a push, but the screens are there so I can play the piano and not be breathing on the children, and vice versa. And then we come down the other side, again, it's the mirror, the computers, none of which have headphones, so the students will be needing to bring in their own headphones for practical work. Obviously we have a stock for people, premium students, for anybody that doesn't have their own headphones. So that takes us round the room, and we come back to the hand sanitizer station, which is very close to the door. Practice spaces, can't use those at the moment because they have no ventilation. And we can probably only fit 1 or 2 students safely, so they're out of use till, well, maybe after Christmas, we'll see, but certainly till further notice, so that goes through. Then we come through into the centre department. We can have 2 students in this space at any one time. Probably going to use this for the GCSE singers. And there we go, we've got notices again. And there's, you can just about see into my office. Now if we go through the centre door, and there, same process. Practice room's out of bounds. This room is a slightly bigger space and it has outside ventilation, so we're going to allow 2 students into the drum room at any one time. Again, probably more based around GCSE practical work. Then coming into the other classroom, it's almost the mirror of the previous room. Keyboards rather than computers in this room, but once again, no headphones, again, all the way around. And obviously desks facing forwards, glockenspiels out already, so we can just wipe those down at the end of the lesson rather than having to take them in and out. That's obviously slightly less touching. And then again, keyboards around this side. This room's got a slightly better door arrangement, so the hand sanitizer station is right by the door as the students come into the classroom.
The other thing I'd like to talk about today is the gradual return to live music making in smaller venues in the UK. I am a regular visitor to a town in Eastbourne, it's on the Sussex coast, the Sussex Riviera. I consider this now my hometown. It actually isn't, I've kind of adopted it as my hometown. It's by the sea, it's lovely, I recommend you visit. At Eastbourne there is a place called the Fisherman's Club, which is a kind of bar, restaurant type venue. As the name suggests, it's right on the coast, right on the sea. Right on the seafront, and as well as doing the food and the drink, they also do have a live venue for things like live jazz music. And they have visiting quartets, small scale, things like quartets. They come play each morning in concerts to an audience in an upstairs room, which under normal circumstances quite a lot of people go, so there's not much space. And post-lockdown that obviously can't happen because we can't do social distancing. But instead, as we are at the end of the summer and start of autumn, it's still possible to do performances outside. So a quite well-known jazz group, jazz player, Andy Panayi, brought his quartet. They play at this venue regularly. And they did an outdoor gig, and the donations they took, they didn't ask for tickets. The donations they took were given as charitably to the Fisherman's Club to allow them to continue to do their good work as a small-scale venue. So to access the venue, there was a one-way system, as there is in schools. We go in a set door. We had to have our temperatures taken with a sort of zappy, non-contact thermometer. It's the first time I've had to do that in anything I've done post-lockdown. We then had to give our name, details, contact numbers, etc. for track and trace in case the worst happens. We would then have to go outside, again following the one-way system, find a table. If you were a household group, you could obviously sit together because that's a bubble. And then you were then socially distant from other people, chairs were laid out, tables were laid out. As far as possible, but not exclusively facing forwards, as it would be maybe in a classroom, there's perhaps a link to make there. Not perfectly, but with social distancing in place, that's fine. Obviously the performance is outside, so that makes it a little bit safer. As I say, the musicians performed, they did 2 sets, and we gave our donations in charity buckets. I reckon at maximum there were probably about 50 people there, so if the ticket price is roughly £10 and everybody donated the ticket price, then quite a lot of money was made, as I say, donated to the Fisherman's Club. We sat, as I say, in bubbles with social distancing. If we wanted food or drink, we weren't able to go to the bar, it was table service only, so very kind, friendly waiters and waitresses came out, took our orders, brought our orders to us. We paid with sort of chip and pin contactless type cards, no changing of cash. Well, you could do it, but it's safer chip and pin and wireless contact things as far as possible, that works well. So all in all, it was quite a pleasant afternoon. So I'm going to share with you just a few extracts from what that performance was like. conditions to explore some schemes of work, schemes of learning that could be taught both in classrooms in a practical space if you have access to them. Also, some of them can be taught in a non-music teaching space, and some of them also can be delivered online, and some of these have links to national organisations, so we'll have a look at those. Maybe as we get going with the series, I hope to interview some musicians, both teachers and musicians, and probably inevitably there'll be a crossover, so people that are both, to see what their experiences in classrooms, in schools is like, and what they might be up to in their sort of private composing, arranging, performing careers, how that's going. So hopefully have a few guests, interviewees. We might be doing that by Zoom. I might even invite them, and we'll do some social distancing to get a safe recording. So, thank you for watching.